What is up, beautiful people? Type in the chat 1 out of 10 how you're feeling right at this absolute beautiful moment and type down where you are, where you're tuning in from. Me and Andrew were talking about leveling up, and we're leveling up in a lot of ways, including in this show. And this Friday, we're going to be talking about how you can level up and how we're planning to level up in all ways and just our philosophy around it.
Something that I used to do was I would consistently get knocked down, or I would let things distract me. And something I think is going to be very powerful as a frame of thought, as a frame of growth for each of you, is to ensure that you're making decisions quickly and sticking by those. And don't let small challenges, knock you off track. Something that happened to me and my life in recent days was 3 weeks ago, I started having a tooth problem right here, and I had to go get a redo of a root canal.
Today, right?
That sucked. It was like 3 weeks ago. Well, started hurting again. So I go to the dentist, and they done a test, and they discovered that it wasn't the same tooth, it was the one in front of the tooth. Which is interesting, because that tooth's never had a filling, it's never had a crack, it's never had a problem.
Right.
And so they do this test. He sends me to the specialist. I've never had this test. It's a very technical test, but they freeze the tip, I guess, of this, I don't know, cold stick, this metal stick. And I don't know, he puts some cold something on it, and I don't know how cold, but it's freezing. And he touched a tooth, and I jump. And he goes, "You're supposed to jump. It's supposed to hurt." And then he gets to a certain tooth, and I don't jump. And he said, although the tooth has never had a crack in it, it's never had a filling, it's never had a problem, it looks perfect. Your nerve in that tooth has died.
Okay.
The gentleman I'm talking to, and I'm going somewhere with this, all right? I'm not
just
not just talking about myself, but the gentleman I was talking to, interesting note, I didn't know this, he used to be in the Navy. And he said that as he ended up working in the hospitals, that every once in a while someone would come in who had been in a plane, not a traditional aircraft, but one of the super speeds, and they would come in and they had to have a root canal because the nerve had burst due to air pressure inside the tooth. And so we was having a discussion, and what I wanted to relate that to, as Leo's going, what the heck are you talking about? What I wanted to relate that to was, today we're talking about growing. We're talking about leveling up. And many times what we show on the outside is not at all what's going on the inside. And something that we have to become good at is becoming honest with ourselves and saying, is what I am doing getting me the result I want? Am I impacting people in the way that I want? Because no matter how good on the outside we've got it put together or feeling about how we're performing on the inside, and that was me years ago in business, where I was moving 100 plates, spinning 100 balls in the air, but I wasn't enjoying the journey. And now the negative things that happen are a bump in the road. We were just talking about that last night, Leo and myself, about every challenge that we face now is an adventure and an opportunity to level up.
Riffing off of that, that's your tooth. Something that Andrew will talk a lot about is what he's going through.
And I have to get another root canal Tuesday, by the way.
There you go. I think a piece that I want to hit home here is, as you guys watch us and as we talk about you guys, talk about your life, talk about how you guys can grow, I think a big piece is being very honest with what's happening in the inside.
That's hot.
Being very honest with what's going on in front of you, and being able to listen to what we're saying, ask yourself, hey, does this make sense? Can I take action on it? Can I do something that will change my life? And I want to get down to the foundation of why we know what to do, why we have all the answers in front of us, but why we still don't change.
Yeah.
For both you and I, we have that many, many times where we're very stubborn in certain ways. Why don't we make a change? Why don't we take any action towards it?
Every one of us have a pain tolerance level in life. Some people's pain tolerance goes, crap, I don't have the life I want. I am going to make a change, right? Maybe somebody's tolerance level is, if I'm making less than 100,000 a year, I have to do better. Somebody else's is going, if I'm making less than 100 grand a month, I have to do better. And somebody else is going, my account's overchecked, I have to do better. What we tolerate is what we will get. And that will become our baseline of normal. And so the sooner that we are willing to allow ourselves to be uncomfortable, because see, most people float through life, just becoming enough that the pain isn't too great. Making sure my house is good, making sure my food's good, I'm good. And we never push to discomfort by choice. Most people never push to discomfort by choice to a level to be able to serve their mission and their calling. And what we do consistently is determine every day when we get up, am I going to listen to the voice of comfort? Am I going to listen to the voice of my baseline? Or am I going to be willing to push myself to the limit, even though pushing myself might be more uncomfortable than staying where I am? But many people have to get so uncomfortable where they are, where the discomfort of going higher is easier than where they are. And so you determine of when that push is going to happen for you. And it is, we can't do it for people. It's everyone in their own mind coming to that conclusion. And I had somebody recently come to me, and a great friend of mine now who's in the mastermind community. And he'd made the comment, he goes, oh my gosh. He said 3 years ago, when he come and joined, now he's crushing it. He said 3 years ago, when I met you and I was contemplating applying to become a part of yours and Leo's project and family, he's like, if I would have done that, I wouldn't have had to go through all the pain the last 3 years. And I said, I respect that. And you had to go through the pain to get ready to accept the growth. And he says, you're exactly right. And that's what I see often in people. And that's something that you're very good at, Leo, is you're willing to accept growth and push yourself to new levels every time that you are willing to be disciplined. And discipline is something that many people lack.
Yeah, I think it's when you show up every day, like we do on this show, it's that has been the greatest tool of leveling up. Because if we don't improve the show, everyone gets to see that there's been no improvement, right? But also, if I don't improve who I am, you get to show that out. And I think it's the next level for self-improvement, is being able to show up every day and force yourself into growth. And something I want everyone to take away here is, how can you set up a system in your life that forces you to be accountable? It is telling the favorite people in your life what you plan to do. And it's you got to be careful with it, because you can't say that you're going to do it and then get this dopamine hit and not do it. It's very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
But if you tell the people you truly respect, like if I tell Andrew I'm planning to grow, and I tell my girlfriend that I'm planning to grow, tell mom I'm planning to grow, I will force myself in every angle to make sure that I do the thing.
Yeah.
And that's been the greatest thing for me, is doing a live show, making content every day, telling you about my plan, having great conversations every day about, hey, I need to grow. I need to figure this out. Here's what I'm gonna do. And then doing it the next day. I don't know a better plan for growth than that right there.
Absolutely.
And it can happen so fast.
If you make smart shifts daily, something I do every day is I analyze what worked and what didn't. Used to, I would do that like every year, right? And at the end of the year, you go, gosh, I had 365 of doing that thing and it didn't work.
Right.
And finally, I got a little smarter and I started doing it like every few months. And then finally, I said, wait a second, maybe I should do it every day. Now, that being said, of course, you have to try something. You don't do sales calls one day and it didn't work and you quit. So you commit to time, except maybe you called a certain list one day and you called that list the next day. And 7 days in, you're going, wait a second, I should try another list, right? So you're evaluating and making smart changes quickly. You go to the gym, you work out hard. And sometimes it's not always doing it harder, it's doing it smarter. And you ask yourself, wait a second, was there something in my diet that's keeping me from getting the body I want? Or you are doing something and it is getting you a result, but not the desired result. And so ask yourself, what changes can I make and how do I keep pushing forward rapidly? Once you marry those two things together, you become a rocket ship that's unstoppable.
You know, me and Andrew were working on a big development, and our businesses have grown substantially over the past 12 months, but the same foundational challenges of leveling up happen here that it happened 4 years ago, that happened 10 years ago for you. You know, the same foundational challenges of friction happen.
Mm-hmm.
They're bigger challenges, right? Before it was a $10,000 challenge, now it's a $200,000 challenge. Right? Before it was a one property, now it's a 280 unit. Before it was 10 views, now it's a couple million views. The numbers are bigger, but the foundational challenge is the same, of forcing yourself to show up every day.
Yeah.
Because now we're used to going to the gym daily, we're used to making content, we're used to leading our teams, all those things, but it's a bigger level, so we have to show up more and we have to show up stronger. But then it's still the same day. You wake up in the morning, you drink your tea, you drink your coffee, and then you're presented with challenges. And you can choose to go back to the same person you were last week, or you can choose to be the person that you evaluated and made shifts to. So you either stay the same, decline, or you grow. And I think that is the daily decision that you make every single day of, all right, I'm faced with another challenge. Do I want to put a vote towards the person that I'm becoming, or cast another vote towards the same person I've been? And I think that is the philosophy of growth that I have seen every day, that if you make yourself show up, you give yourself more opportunity to cast more votes towards the person. And if you fill your calendar up with a bunch of things, productive things that actually move the needle forward, then you can grow 7, 8, 9 times faster than the average person who's just doing like 1 or 2 things a day.
Yeah.
And I think that is a great way that I've seen hustle culture be a positive thing for a season for rapid amounts of growth.
Yeah. I think planned hustle is smart, right? If you say, hey, this week's going to be hectic, or these 3 days I'm going to, that's like us every time we have an event. We know for those 3 days that we're doing the event, we're going to get up early, we're going to go to bed late, because we are serving at the highest level as many people as we possibly can. So ask yourself that. How can I level up? What's the actions I can take today that cause me to make hard decisions quickly and be able to get those out of the way? Because there'll be more right behind them, but the more they stack up, the slower you move. The more decisions you can make, the more movement you can make. Take an action, get a result, analyze it, review it. Should I do something different, or should I do that again? Continue to grow that way. And you quickly find at every level what Leo just said, the same flaws, for lack of a better term, the same challenges, the same habits that I seen show up years ago can tend to try to come back up. And the same things you don't watch closely can pop back up. So now you know yourself, you're aware. And when you're aware and you know yourself, you can constantly be vigilant as to what you're doing that may be self-sabotaging you. Because every one of us have self-sabotage habits that we have to overcome.
Yeah. I want to keep this one short because me and Andrew have a lot of great projects we're working on that we're going to get back to. But just a quick update on us, so you guys know, those of you guys who watch later on and everyone here live, is we are ramping up on a lot of angles in our businesses, which we're in a season of rapid work and growth. And it's cool showing up here every single day still even though it's in the middle of the day at noon during our lunchtime. It's like, wow, what a great place to not stretch ourselves, but to force ourselves to grow, to show up every day where even if we have a hard day, you still show up and speak about these things. And I challenge you guys to create something like that. Whether you go live every single day or you set out a challenge to do a 30-day workout or a 30-day to one deal, like something where you can force yourself to go through a rapid season of growth. And that's what I believe is a quantum leap. It happens through over and over and over and over and over again, doing something that forces you to cast votes. Interesting
Good.
philosophy. That's it.
I like it.
We're going to be back Monday. And something I will put out there is that we are in conversation of improving so much of the show. And we're putting time towards it. I won't promise everything yet. I'll only say just enough that I can actually take action on. But a lot of great things are coming, and I'm excited to see you guys again Monday, same time, same place. We'll see you soon.
See you Monday. Have a good weekend, guys.
Peace.